Do not retire before you pay off your mortgage. This is not my advice in any way, shape, or form, but rather one of the most common thought processes that I've come across over the last 12 years working with clients. Do you know the biggest mistake that I see pre-retirees make when trying to make the decision between paying off their mortgage before retirement versus investing? It's not always what you might expect, especially for those that fall into the age range between 50 and 65 years old and have a prime focus on their financial future. And although the decision can feel simple, become debt-free and live a simple life, it can be far more complex than that. So let's take a closer look at what's really at stake here. For many people I speak to, as they approach retirement, the feeling and thought of being debt-free is something that is extremely desirable in most cases. Many times, they have a feeling or a mindset that paying off your mortgage and having no debt provides financial stability, and that is what you should be aiming for as you get closer to the finish line. No more monthly payments, no more debt hanging over your head. It kind of does sound like that could be a really nice way to enter the next chapter in life. And while the emotional relief could feel comforting, there could be a cost associated as well, in potentially missing out on any compounding growth that you could have investing over time. When you focus on putting every dollar that you have towards your mortgage, you're essentially tying that money up in an illiquid asset, as opposed to keeping that money free-flowing and liquid and potentially investing in the markets. Now picture this. You reach retirement, you're completely debt-free, and then an unexpected expense comes up, leaving you scrambling for liquidity as you tied up all of your money in trying to turbocharge those mortgage payments. In some cases, this could leave one scrambling for money, not knowing what to do, potentially having to take out a loan, or even selling investments at an inopportune time to create the needed cash. And this is where the concept of opportunity cost comes into play. Every time you take that extra money and you put it towards your mortgage, it comes with a trade-off. So let's put this into perspective. Over time, historically speaking, the S&P 500 has achieved a rate of return of about 8 to 10% annually, while mortgages in recent years fall somewhere between a 3% to 5% rate of interest. If your mortgage interest is at the lower end of that range, let's look at things through this lens. Consider the return, quote unquote, that you receive for paying that mortgage off early. If your mortgage is around 4%, that could be the rate of return that you're achieving on that money annually. But if you invest that same money in the stock market over time, theoretically, you could be achieving a compounded rate of return between 8 to 10%. A caveat that I find of importance to bring up is having the realization that that feeling of being debt-free is not just a rational calculation, but it also can be a very emotional decision as well. Knowing that your home is fully paid off could bring one a feeling of confidence and safety, which is very hard to ignore in the instances that I've seen personally. But the fact that you're locking that money up in an illiquid asset is something that I find also important to consider and something I cannot turn a blind eye to.